Earlier this year, the Midland Health Department said 3 infants with nearly the last 6 months were diagnosed with a very rare case of infant botulism. Now, all of them live in northwest Midland. It's so rare that in the state of Texas, there have been only 4 cases reported, and 2 of them are tied to that Midland neighborhood. News West 9's Marcus Risen heard from local health professionals earlier today who were talking about this illness. And Marcus, what did you learn?
Yeah, Alex, I learned what exactly botulism is, what types there are, and what exactly causes it, among other information. So here's what we know so far. First things first, what is botulism? Midland Health epidemiologist Tyler Collins tells us.
So botulism is a bacteria that lives in the soil. It produces spores that, if ingested by infants who don't have the gut bacteria built up to combat it, can cause toxins to grow and can cause serious problems. It can also grow in improperly canned or preserved food, leading to people to ingest those toxins that are growing in those jars or cans and then getting sick. And so that's foodborne botulism that's typically associated with adults.
Now, botulism in infants is the most common type, especially in children under 6 months, which is how old the 3 infants in Midland were. Now, this can be foodborne through the air, even as simple as ingesting dirt. It can also be caused by improperly canned food. Midland Health also mentioned how it might happen when infants eat honey, which contains the spores. Now, professionals have ruled out food for these specific cases in Midland.
We believe it to be an environmental source, so it could be due to dusty air, dirty air. It could be a pacifier dropped in the dirt and then put in a child's mouth. It could be dirty hands handling a bottle that the child then feeds upon. All of those we would consider environmental source because it's contact with the dirt, the soil that the infant is getting the toxin from.
Now let's go over the similarities of each infant. All 3 were in an unnamed northwest Midland neighborhood. None of the kids consumed any honey, and all of them did have outdoor exposure. Let's go over the timeline. The first case reported was back in August of 2023. The second was January 2024, and then February 2024. Once again, 4 cases have been reported in Texas this year, 2 of them right in this Midland neighborhood. That leads us until we don't know. The Midland Health Department doesn't know why Midland has half the reported cases. It's something them and the state are still monitoring. They're also not sure if there's any link to climate change. Here's what we're still looking into. We're still trying to find a source of the exposure. They believe the source is environmental, but that's something they're still investigating. Now, according to Midland Health, they don't typically do environmental testing since the bacteria is common in natural environment. Detecting it isn't a surefire method of indicating the source of exposure. Now we know. All this sounds scary for new parents. While extremely rare, like we said, there's only been 4 cases in the entire state this year. However, you can never be too careful. Midland Health says don't feed your children honey, especially if they're under a year old. If you're a gardener, wash your hands before you feed your child. If it's a dusty or windy day, try to stay inside, just to be safe. Now, here are some symptoms to look out for. This includes constipation, poor feeding, drooping eyelids, a weak cry, sluggish reactive pupils, poor head control, and breathing difficulty. Like we said, Midland Health is still investigating the cause of these illnesses, and as soon as we learn that information, we'll let you know. Now, to see the full press conference with the Midland Health Department, make sure to go to newswest9.com.